I believe in the story of the African lion. The lion is an African animal. It's a king of the jungle. The Cameroonian national soccer team is called the Indomitable Lions. The soccer team of Senegal is called the Lions of Teranga. The soccer team of Morocco is called the Atlas Lions. Here in Eastern Africa, we call it the Simba. The king of the jungle. When the king roars, the jungle listens. So our story of the African lion. The African lion is giving a message to the Asian tiger. Tiger is the Asian animal. And I want my Asian friends here not to take offense. The African lion is giving a message to the Asian tiger. That you Asian tiger, you've danced on the stage alone for far too long. It's your time to quit. The European bear retreated to the North Pole long time ago and is freezing there in the ice. The American panther is also on the retreat. But I'm here as the African lion. I've been asleep in the jungles of the Congo, but now I'm awake and I'm sitting on African gold, African oil, African diamonds, African iron and copper ores. I'm sitting on African bauxite. I'm sitting on African lithium and coltan and uranium. And I have the ability to transform all these materials that I have into wealth for the benefit of my people and claim the 21st century as an African century. End of the message from African Lion. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
So guys, this is Raila's speech during the launch of his AU chairmanship, and he said that he's ready to defend Africa once again. He's been a sleeping lion, and as you can hear, I actually learned that the symbol of Africa is lion, Asia is tigers, Europe is bears, the polar bears, and America is the pandas. You remember the panda? There is this movie called Panda. Yeah, so that's and Australia is obviously kangaroo. So I'm researching on China. So I want to also learn about China. What is the symbol of China is a part of Asia. So when they say Asia, it's tigers. Yeah, because there is Asian tigers. I think it's a football or something. Yeah, so Raila was saying that he's ready to defend Africa once again because, as you know, Mother Africa is the richest in terms of minerals, but it's also the poorest. It hosts the poorest of the nations in the earth, including Burundi, DRC, Chad. All these countries are rich in minerals. They are fighting constantly. The fights on each side are being sponsored by, for example, you can find that there are two groups in DRC fighting, and all of them are sponsored by heavyweights. For example, France on one side, there is the United States on the other side, and now the UN purporting to help humanity. So he said in State House Nairobi, he said he's ready to defend Africa again, to exploit its own resources, mineral resources, sell them, create wealth, and to help its own people to come out of poverty. Yeah. So I think that was a resounding speech. It's a serious speech by the and it's my hope that if he can honestly recapture, or if he can honestly take back Africa to where it's supposed to be, against the Europeans, the whites who are always exploiting the African resources, it will be the best thing he has ever done. But you know, let's hope it's not just about politics or something he was talking to impress, because when he said those, the leaders who are present, who are the East African leaders, the Yoweri Museveni, president of Uganda, the representatives of presidents of Rwanda and Burundi, the president of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu, the president of South Sudan was present. The president of Sudan actually was present. That's Salva Kiir, and of course Kenyan leaders and other ambassadors, and as well as the friends of East Africa, the white, the Asians, and everything. So all of them were present, and they were actually impressed by his speech. And I hope that he was not only impressing them, but actually speaking so that he can act on it. And once he acts on it, he can restore Africa's dignity. You know, we fought for independence out of the Europeans, and as Museveni said, we are suffering from arrivism. We thought that we have now arrived, but not yet. Politically, we are somehow free, but not economically. Economically, we are still being exploited. We have a lot of minerals, the way Raila said. We have cobalt. We have copper in various places like Zambia and Uganda. We have cobalt in which is a very useful mineral for electronics in located in DRC. We have a lot of gold. We have a lot of uranium, diamond. Name them, just a lot of minerals, guys. We have petroleum, imagine. Petroleum in many parts of Africa. One of it being in Nigeria and sub-Saharan African countries like Kenya. We have a lot of petroleum. And that's going to West. It's being looted by the West. So Raila was reaffirming that actually he's coming to help in matters safeguarding Africa's natural resources for the benefit of its own people.
The other one are the issues of visas. My friend Aliko Dangote says that for him to travel across the continent, he needs 35 visas. His French competitor does not need a visa to travel with a French passport in Africa. What a shame. In Europe, you only need a Schengen visa, and you can travel across the entire Europe without a problem. We will also ensure that we reach a stage where we can issue the AU visa and enable people to travel across the continent without much of a problem.
Yeah, once again, as you've heard, Raila was actually disappointed that to move across Africa, you need a lot of visas. Around 34 visas. So there are some actually visa-free countries, and some of them use one visa, because we have more than 50 countries, but you need 34 visas, which means some countries you can go visa-free, but others also you can use same visa for more than one country. But now, still, even with that benefit, we still need a lot of visas to move across Africa, unless in the European Union, whereby you only need Schengen visa. Yeah, so actually that's what he was saying. He was reaffirming that he will relook into that, because actually that's a very big problem. You may know about Wademaya. Wademaya has been actually vocal about it, saying that it's always a problem moving from one country to another. You have to wait for a very long time, maybe to move from Ghana, maybe to Zambia, or to South Africa, or to Egypt, because of the barriers. So those are barriers of free movement. And Raila is once again promising to unify African countries to become borderless. In as far as we are still intact countries, but we need to become borderless in terms of traveling, doing trade and everything. And that was corroborated or strengthened by or emphasized by the former president of Nigeria, who is Olusegun Obasanjo, who has been at the forefront in championing Raila's presidency. Not presidency, but AU chairmanship, that he could abort other African missions because of the late processing of visas to those countries. So you can see how serious the problem is. If you can even see that the leaders are the ones who are suffering from that problem of a lot of visas in Africa. And Raila is coming, and Obasanjo said that he will not remind Raila on that. He will actually wait to see him act, which shows how grave or how serious the problem is. So let's hope that Africa becomes visa free, and we can travel with only one visa, with only one African visa. As long as you are in Africa and as long as you have that visa and you are coming to Africa, you can go to any country, or you have that visa and you are from one country in Africa, you can go to any country across Africa, which is very good. Yeah, because look here. The Schengen visa is for countries located in one region in Europe, for example, Germany, Poland, all those countries, Czech, yeah, the Netherlands, all those countries in France, everything, all those countries in Europe. And now, if we can do that to Africa, under the umbrella of African Union, we can move from Kenya to Djibouti to Egypt to Morocco to West Africa countries to Central Africa to Southern Africa, Eastern, Northern Africa, with only one visa. It will be very good. See, so that's actually what's holding us behind. Yeah, so let's hope it's also implemented.